Okay guys, so this is going to be a different type of video that I'm going to be making strictly for the fact of I think it can be very helpful for the solo small tribes players and just smaller tribes in general that want to play the game but don't want to invest so much time into it to be active and take like an actual spot. So these spots, I'm going to be honest with you, some of them are not the best, some of them are better than others, but these are just some of the spots I've built and that I would recommend to you guys. So this first spot is coming in at 1812, and you've probably seen this video and many others. It's the Curtis route hole, the upwards one. So pretty much how do you get into it? You need tech boots or fed boots, and pretty much you need to come to any corner where you can pretty much stand. You need to be crouched, and you need to aim your grapple through the hole right here. Stay grappled and you can pull yourself straight through. Once you're in, it's a very not too big of a spot, but it has enough space to where you can fit about 3 smaller floors, mainly with an exomech, some cryo fridges, taxidermies, and for the entrance, what I did was I would just stack up carbos on aggressive just to make it very hard for anyone really trying to raid you. They'd have to kill them all or figure out a way to get through all that. So that's going to be the number 5 spot. Okay, coming in this next one, this one's at 29, and it's right behind this like tree or whatever you would like to call this, and it is an upwards rat hole. But so pretty much how to get into it, you can walk straight up on some spot like right around here where you could just wiggle with tech boots, or you could again find an angle, be crouched, and grapple straight through. Pulls you through, and then from here you walk across and boom, it just goes straight up. This one does have a bit more room, but again, this spot is, in my opinion, a bit easier to raid. There are angles where people can shoot tech rifles straight up and rockets from like up under here. They can get angles, but again, if you load up the entrance with carbos, and on this one you can fit stegos, it would be a very big pain to raid, especially if you throw like a Thyla or a Dino in the mix of them. If they do manage to pop out a Thyla or a Dino to try to kill your stegos and carbos, your Thyla or Dino should be able to win that, strictly because you have the turret coverage, and that spot I would recommend for mainly 2-3 players. Wouldn't really recommend it for a solo since it is well bigger and way more known. Okay, coming into this next spot, this one is the King Titan Plat rattle. This one is pretty hard to raid, but it's not very big to begin with. So this one's 647. The King Plat, or the terminal for the King Titan, is right around the corner over there. Alright, to get into this one, it's pretty much a drop down. You can run through it. I would recommend going through it with a suit just because it makes it easier, or grappling around. So you can come into here. This is like the first like tiny little room from the drop down. There is another one up over here, and then this one also goes down a bit further, and then down here is the main room where you'd keep your loot, your tech gen, or however you decide to build it. Again, it's not that big, but again, if you were to throw down a few turrets, I would make sure to keep them on at least one on all targets, because I have seen people grapple corrupted dilos and drop them down, and that ends up wiping the base. But I think this spot is good for a solo player. Very hard to raid. You can stash loot in here. PvP. It's very fun. It's on a map with fairly good Ellie, so I mean, filling your turrets and gens should last you for a while with like 1 Ellie vein. And yeah, this is probably the number 3 spot. Okay guys, for this next spot, this one is devable and possibly could be bannable. I'm not really sure, but you do need an enforcer. This is the Pearl Cave behind Carno on Island, and so pretty much you need to build the spot out of vacuum compartments, but here's how you get into it. So you need the enforcer. You want to enable the teleport to latch onto things. You want to angle it at this corner all the way down, teleport, and then jump off. You're under. It is water in here. At some spots up here it is out of water, but you'd build your base down here in vacuum compartments. I wouldn't do too high of a build because you do want turrets at the top facing both sides, because I'm not exactly 100% sure, but there is a way that people can also do the exact same thing I just did with an enforcer, but on this side of the wall. So you want turrets pretty much on both sides, and if not, also if you build this pearl cave as well, or at least if you put turrets in it, I mean, not many people will even see you down there. So that's like my number 2 spot. Okay, coming at this final spot, this spot is going to be very controversial. Some people are going to say it's very bad. Some people might say it's pretty good. In my opinion, I think it's a pretty good spot if built right. So this spot this is the only entrance. It's very small. It's kind of wide, very narrow. Could fit a Quetzal through it. People can maybe pop stegos up there, but if you fully build this, you'd have turrets facing out to where people can't get up on this ledge. And especially since it's a downwards base build pretty much, so like say someone tried to Quetz bomb it, they would have to come up and then you'd have turrets lower that would shoot the bottom of the Quetzal. But this spot is located at 14.8. It's actually very close to that other rat hole I showed you guys earlier in the video, behind there. It's right up here. And you do need to build it off cliff plats, or at least start with a cliff plat, and then you could snap triangles, which is how I would recommend building it. All on the back here, along this wall, you can place them. And yeah, this is my top 5 spots that I think, at least for me being solo on small tribes for a while, also building up being in big tribes and raiding some of the spots I showed you, those would be some of the hardest spots I've had to raid. Don't get me wrong, if it is a bad build, the spots can be easily raided, but if you're a better builder or know some better strategies to build, then you should be okay in these spots. Okay guys, one more spot that I thought I'd throw in as like an honorable mention, or a spot that I think you can use as like a crafting base, or just a temporary base to get started up to last maybe a week or so. But it's at 821. It's right behind this tree right here in Sunken. This is its surroundings. And pretty much behind here you do have to build off cliff plats, but if you build higher up you can still fit a rep and a transmitter and other, maybe like an indie forge. But down below is where you can build off of your cliff plats to make shandies, put triangles on the walls to stop people from coming in here. You do have to raid upwards, which is always more difficult, but again, this spot is fairly well known, but it is a good temporary spot because extinctions don't really get scouted that much. And if they do, with the stage that the game is in, they're only going over, most likely, to either PvP the tree or the red light or King Titan plat that's built on the server. These are some spots that are just going to get overlooked or forgotten about, which is why I think they might not have been the best at the time, maybe a year ago, but now, since it's very later in the game, not many people would be thinking to look there, because maybe thinking, why would someone build there? Hope this video helped. These are just some of my personal spots that I think are very hidden, or better spots to build in for solo and smaller tribes when you're trying to get started up on Ark. Thanks, have a good day.